You are being lied to every single month. Not by a stranger, not by some foreign government, by the company whose name is printed right there on your electricity bill, the one you pay without question, the one that can shut off your power on the coldest night of the year and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. But what if I told you that over 100 years ago, one man, the most famous inventor who ever lived, built a battery that could free every single home in America from that system forever? A battery that cost almost nothing to build, a battery that does not die, a battery that has been quietly running in barns and workshops for over 70 years without a single replacement. And what if I told you that the people who profit from your monthly bill made sure you would never hear about it? My name is Simple Secrets Daily, and if you are new here, this channel is about one thing: the knowledge they never wanted you to have. Hit that subscribe button right now and ring the bell, because what I'm about to show you over the next few minutes is going to change the way you look at your home, your bill, and your future. Share this video with someone you care about, because the more people who know this, the harder it becomes to keep it buried. Now stay with me, because I need you to understand something before we go any further. This is not a theory. This is not speculation. This is documented history, sitting in university archives, recorded in patent filings, and quietly humming away in real buildings, right now, today, in 2025. The battery I'm about to describe to you is real. The suppression of it is real. And the price of building one yourself, about $5 in raw materials, that is real too. Let me take you back. Not to some distant ancient time, just over 100 years ago, the year 1900. Picture the streets of New York City, horse-drawn carriages still clattered over cobblestones, gas lamps still flickered on the corners. But something unexpected was happening on those same streets that almost nobody today knows about. Electric automobiles, and not just a few of them. By the year 1900, electric cars actually outnumbered gasoline-powered cars in the United States. Now let that sit for a moment. We had already chosen electric. We were already there. So what happened? The battery happened. The batteries of that era were lead acid. They were heavy as boulders. They corroded from the inside out. They lasted maybe 2 years if you were lucky. They gave you 30 miles on a good day before dying on the side of the road. The technology was right, the energy storage was wrong, and one man saw this problem more clearly than anyone else on Earth: Thomas Alva Edison. By 1900, he had already changed the world twice over, once with the phonograph, once with the electric light bulb. He was the most celebrated inventor alive, and he turned his full attention, his entire laboratory, his complete obsession, to what he called, in his own words, the worst chemistry problem he had ever attempted. He did not say that lightly. This was a man who had already solved things that every expert said were impossible. But the battery, the perfect battery, that one humbled him. For years, he tested over 10,000 combinations of metals, acids, alkalis, and electrolytes. 10,000. His research notebooks, preserved today at Rutgers University in the Edison Papers Archive, show page after page of failures written in his own handwriting. Entry after entry, compound after compound, dead end after dead end. Most men would have quit after 100 attempts. Edison wrote down 10,000 and kept going. Then in 1901, he found it. 2 materials. 1 solution. Nickel and iron as the plates. Potassium hydroxide as the electrolyte. That is it. That is the whole battery. No exotic metals, no rare earth elements mined from the bottom of the ocean. No lithium, no lead, no acid that burns through your floor. Just iron, nickel, and a solution you can mix in your own kitchen. Edison filed the patent and made a claim that sounded almost ridiculous at the time. He said this battery would last the lifetime of the vehicle it powered. People laughed. They said he was exaggerating. They said no battery could last that long. He was not exaggerating. He was being conservative. The railroads bought his batteries for signal lighting along the tracks. Those original Edison cells, purchased in the early 1900s, have been documented, tested, and verified to still be holding a charge today. Not some of them, many of them, over a century of use, not replaced, not rebuilt, just quietly doing their job decade after decade after decade. The chemistry behind this is almost frustratingly simple once you understand it. When you charge a nickel-iron battery, electrons move in one direction between the plates. When you discharge it, they move back. That is the whole story. Nothing degrades. Nothing crystallizes permanently like in a lead-acid battery. Nothing eats itself alive from the inside. The plates can be fully discharged, drained completely to zero, left sitting untouched for 10 years, and then refilled and recharged, and they come back to full capacity, like nothing ever happened. Edison once documented a cell that had been accidentally short-circuited for 18 months straight. 18 months of continuous short circuit, the kind of abuse that would destroy any modern battery instantly, and after a single charge, it recovered to 100% capacity. Let me say that again because it matters. 18 months of a short circuit, full recovery, one charge. Now think about the battery in your phone right now. How old is it? 2 years old and already struggling to make it through the afternoon. 3 years old, and you're carrying a charger everywhere you go. The lithium battery in that phone costs the manufacturer somewhere around $400 to produce at scale, with all its complex chemistry and rare materials and fire risk and charging circuits designed to slow its own degradation. And it still dies in 3 years. The Edison battery costs $5 in materials. Lasts 100 years. Does not catch fire. Does not swell. Does not leak. Does not poison the ground when you throw it away. And you can build one yourself in a garage. So the question every single person watching this right now should be asking, and I mean this seriously, why have you never heard of this before today? Why is every home in America still connected to a utility grid? Why are you still renting electricity from a company that can shut you off anytime it wants? Why are the batteries in your car, your phone, your solar backup system, why are all of them still made from chemistry that was already considered inferior before World War I? That is the question. And the answer is the part of this story they really do not want you to think about too hard. Around the year 1923, just over 2 decades after Edison's breakthrough, something shifted, not in the science. The science was settled. The nickel iron battery worked. It worked better than anything else available. But in the world of industry and money, a battery that does not die is a catastrophic business problem. A battery that lasts 100 years is a battery you sell once. You cannot build a recurring revenue stream around something that outlives your customer. You cannot sell replacements. You cannot sell upgrades. You cannot charge subscription fees for something that just keeps working in someone's barn for 77 years without a single service call. So industry made a choice, not Edison's choice. The choice of men who counted money and saw a product that refused to become disposable and decided that was unacceptable. From that point forward, investment went into lead acid, into lithium, into chemistries that were in some ways more powerful for specific uses. But that came built with an expiration date embedded in the very atoms they were made from. Planned obsolescence was not invented by the smartphone industry. It was invented over a century ago, and it started with the battery in your car. Now I want to tell you about something I witnessed personally that made all of this feel real to me in a way that no document ever could. I drove out to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, Amish country, and I walked into a working farm, a real working farm with livestock and fields and a family that has lived on that land for generations. And in the barn, the lights were on. This was during a thunderstorm, wind, rain, the kind of night when the power flickers out all over town and people fumble for candles. But inside that barn, lights on, steady. No generator rumbling outside. No utility line running in from the road. Just a wooden shelf along the wall with a row of heavy steel cans sitting in perfect silence. I asked the man who owned the farm how long those batteries had been running the barn. He thought for a moment. Then he said 1948. I looked at the cans. I looked at the lights. I looked at him. He smiled like it was the most normal thing in the world. Because for him it was. He had never paid an electric bill for that barn in his entire life. And those batteries, those nickel iron cells sitting on a wooden shelf, had been doing their job since Harry Truman was president. I stood in that barn for 10 full minutes, and I could not stop thinking one thought. How many millions of families across this country are handing over money every single month for their entire lives, for something that was solved in 1901? How many people have paid tens of thousands of dollars in electricity bills over the course of a lifetime for power that one of these batteries could have provided for free after a single upfront investment of materials that cost less than a restaurant meal? Think about that number. Add up your electricity bill for the last year. Now multiply that by 30 years. That is the money this technology could have kept in your pocket. That is the money that went somewhere else instead. And here is what makes the Amish situation even more interesting, because it is not just that they kept using the Edison battery when the rest of the world moved on, they improved it. There's one additional ingredient, one modification, that the old textbooks and the patent filings do not mention. Something passed down through communities that kept this technology alive when everyone else forgot about it. A simple addition to the electrolyte that extends the already extraordinary lifespan of these cells even further and improves their performance in cold weather conditions. I'm going to show you exactly what that ingredient is and exactly how it works. But first, I need you to understand something about the document that started all of this, because there is a patent filing dated January 14th, 1911, in which Edison himself described in plain language how to construct one of these cells from scratch. Not in scientific jargon, not buried inside laboratory reports, plain language, step by step. As if he wanted any ordinary person with a few dollars and a free afternoon to be able to build one. And what is remarkable about reading that document today is how simple it is, how approachable, how it reads not like something hidden or complicated, but like instructions for something so obvious it should have been in every home improvement book ever printed. The iron plate is the negative electrode. Iron, the most common structural metal on Earth. The metal your pipes are made of, the metal in your fence post, pure iron in a specific form, but iron nonetheless. The nickel oxide plate is the positive electrode. Nickel, common, affordable, stable, processed into an oxide form that holds its structure charge after charge after charge without breaking down. And the electrolyte, potassium hydroxide dissolved in distilled water, is the liquid those plates sit in. Potassium hydroxide is used in soap making. It is sold in hardware stores. It is not exotic. It is not dangerous in the concentrations used here beyond normal chemical caution. This is the entire battery. Iron, nickel oxide, potassium hydroxide, water. A sealed steel casing to hold it all together. That is what has been powering barns in Lancaster County since 1948. That is what Edison sold to railroads in 1905 that are still functioning today. That is what a motivated person with $5 in materials and a weekend afternoon could begin building right now. And when you connect a bank of these cells, even a small bank, to a basic solar panel or a wind turbine or even just a standard AC charger, you have something that the utility companies have spent over 100 years making sure you would never think was possible. You have energy independence, real independence, not the kind where you buy a $10,000 lithium battery system that will need replacing in a decade, the real kind, where your lights stay on during the storm, where your bill stops arriving, where the company that has been collecting your money every month for your entire adult life simply stops being relevant to you. I want you to think about the people in your life right now who could use this information. Your parents on a fixed income, your neighbor who talks about the electric bill every time you see them, your brother who just bought land and is thinking about building something on it. This video, right now, could be the thing that changes the way they think about energy for the rest of their lives. So share it. Right now, before you forget, hit the share button and send it to one person. Just one person who you think deserves to know this. And if you have not subscribed yet, do it now. Because what I am going to show you next, the exact construction method, the Amish modification to the electrolyte, and the specific materials you can source today to start building your own cells. That is all coming, and you do not want to miss it. Leave a comment below and tell me, how much is your average monthly electric bill? Just a number, I want to know. Because I think when I see those numbers together in the comments, I think it is